Once upon a time in a small town, there was a butcher's shop in one corner. Many people visited the shop daily to buy meat. Around the shop, a few dogs would often roam, hoping for scraps of meat thrown by the butcher. Among them, there was a particularly greedy and clever dog. He would try to steal meat from the shop whenever he got the chance. One day, when the butcher was very busy, the greedy dog seized the opportunity. He quickly snatched a large piece of meat from the shop and ran away. The butcher noticed and started chasing him. The dog, terrified, ran as fast as he could. The butcher ran after him for some distance, but he couldn't leave his shop for too long and eventually returned. Meanwhile, the dog kept running until he crossed the town's boundary and reached a deserted area. He stopped for a moment, looked back, and saw that the butcher was no longer following him. This gave him some courage, and he began walking slowly. He was exhausted from running, so he held the meat tightly in his mouth, deciding to eat it later. After some time, he reached a small river. There was a narrow wooden bridge over the river. The dog started crossing the bridge. In the middle of the bridge, he looked down into the clear water of the river. The water was so clear that the dog could see his reflection vividly. But the greedy and foolish dog thought it was another dog, also holding a piece of meat in its mouth. The dog thought, "That dog's piece of meat looks bigger than mine. If I can grab it too, I'll have a feast today." Blinded by greed, he didn't think for even a moment. He decided to jump into the river to snatch the other piece of meat. But as soon as he jumped into the water, the meat in his mouth fell into the river. The river's current was so strong that the piece of meat was carried away, and the dog began struggling in the water. Despite trying hard, he couldn't reach the shore and was eventually swept away by the current. In this way, his greed led to his downfall. This story teaches us that greed is the root of destruction. We should be content with what we have ***,